Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this board meeting of October 21, 2024. And we have a quorum. We have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of us here. And so welcome, and we thank you for all the visitors and the administrators for being here too to help us out. So the first thing on call here is item A, call the meeting to order and determine that we have a quorum. So that we've got accomplished. And B is we always like to mention that the public is invited and welcome to come and talk to the board, and we have a policy about that. It's a public forum policy, and so just always want to mention that. And so there's some procedures where they need to call in and talk to Catherine and get on the meeting. And so is there anyone today on the public forum? No. Okay, so item C is to approve the agenda. Any questions on the agenda?
So moved.
So moved. Second. So moved by Jade to approve the agenda, and I believe Roger, were you the second on that one? Mm-hmm. Okay, so we'll move right into item D, discussion items, and we'll turn it over to the superintendent.
Okay, I just was going to share, Jade has been working with the wellness committee, so they have a campaign going on.
Kind of an initiative, yeah.
And I'll let you talk.
Oh, okay. So basically, after we had Dr. Gentile here, that we've been putting out little excerpts, social media, just trying to make parents kind of aware of the information that he brought to our community, which was excellent in my opinion. And if we can continue those conversations, I think we're doing great. I think it did get actually posted on HMU, right? And is also on our YouTube page for HMU, or?
It's on the HMU YouTube page.
Okay. Yeah.
I can text you another, I sent somebody a link.
Oh, okay. So it's still able to be watched, but we decided that we would try to make October our Join the Fun cut down by 1. And basically we're just asking everybody to cut down on any type of screen by 1 hour a day during the month of October. So weekly we have been sending out just these fun little things. We're trying to obviously cover a pretty diverse age range and demographic. So we tried to correlate it with the weather as well, like take a walk with your family, play a game, read a book, draw some leaves from nature, those sorts of things. Just to give, honestly, parents and kids an idea of what you could do for an hour. You know, do a chore, things like that. Lastly, we're going to finish up the month talking about, might be a little hard to read on here, but honestly the power that a parent has. And it talks about, he kind of listed out 4 things that are super helpful, that parents, you only see the fight. You don't see the studies, and you don't see the behaviors or where your kid could be. You just see the fight and the battle with get off your phone, get off the Xbox, get off this. And he talked about how reiterating that parents, guardians hold a lot of power. So we are trying to encourage that and honestly empower parents and other people through education, that you're not alone in this fight, we're all going through it. And Ann Heitoff, who is the head of the wellness committee, and I are working together to put a pamphlet together with it'll be diverse information throughout the year, but I believe at the fall ones we're going to put together some of these same type of topics, and it's more educational than it is dooming. You know, we're not trying to make anyone feel bad, we're trying to make you aware of how it could influence your student and your behavior. So that's basically it. Just if you guys see that, that's why, and you can encourage parents that we have literature available to help them in this. So, yeah.
Yeah, very good. Just taking your time away from the screen. There's tons and tons of studies on it not being good for kids. Yeah.
He even said, like, why we decided an hour. He even said if you cut down an hour a day, there's significant results. Yes. Kids are on their phones, well, Americans are on their phones more than any other activity outside of sleep, and even sleep is declining for screens. So you can imagine what that is doing to us in general. So we're just trying to bring awareness around it and
Yeah.
continue the conversation.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a very important finding, isn't it? That's really quite a phenomenon right now, isn't it? People recognizing that it's really a problem.
And his research is mainly on screens outside of phones because he said it takes, I believe he said at least a decade to see research on something new. So he said a lot of his is outside of phones, but if you can imagine, the research isn't going to get better, if that makes sense. So just kind of that, wanted to make you guys aware of that, and if you see it, encourage parents.
Thanks, Jade.
Yes, you're so welcome.
That's all that we had today for superintendent. I know you guys are here. What are you guys talking about today?
What we're doing in student council, or what we have been and what we are going to do. Would you like us to do that now?
Yeah, why don't you do that right
Perfect.
now, and then you can go.
Can you
Yeah.
Perfect. Alright, so as I stated before, we're from the student council. As you know, we finished up with homecoming. That was pretty good.
Who are you guys?
Tell us your names, yeah.
I'm Grant Peterson.
I'm Landon Nesson.
Awesome. And so we finished up with homecoming and we raised a lot of money, and we're donating what we raised from Pie a Teacher, which we're rounding up and donating $1,000 to get rid of some of the debts that people owe for lunch money. So that'll be, I heard that's a good thing. And
Thanks.
if we take that away from what we made, we raised like $3,000 subtracted from that, so we're up to enough money. We need to spend it, do something. But
Agreed.
Yeah.
in the next few days, actually, next Sunday we're going to the State Leadership Conference. That's on Iowa State's campus this year. Last year it was in Johnston. But I, along with a few of the other like leadership council members and anybody who wants to go, actually are going down there. It's pretty fun. Aside from that, just regular meetings.
What's your next big event besides the leadership thing on campus at school? Is it your volunteer stuff, or is that in the spring?
I don't even know what it is.
We're planning some stuff. We're trying to put together like a winter dance. That's kind of all
yeah.
over the place because last year's didn't turn out
We're
super.
hoping to do it after a basketball game this year. Just kind of people are here, and then that way after this game, boys can shower, go to the cafeteria, then go off of that. Just kind of that way we have people here, just an informal type of dance.
It'll be like a winter informal
Yeah.
instead of formal this year. To get more people to go.
Yes.
And then we're
I
brainstorming
think
ways
that's a good idea.
Yeah.
to make homecoming run more efficiently, because this year compared to last year we changed up a lot of different things, and we're trying to dissect them and figure out how to make everything work more efficiently.
Good.
What did you make your money off of when you said you make money?
We sold bracelets, shirts, and we had like different, we like sold pop and different things at the dance,
Okay,
and like the entry to the dance.
The dance.
So there's all kinds of little things.
okay.
Thought you were paying
And then the
teachers.
pieing the
We
teacher.
did that.
That, and then we use that for the lunch money.
Okay.
I know you're also doing sponsor a supper, which you guys might not know a lot about that. But the student council is doing sponsor a supper for the high school parent-teacher conferences. So just you can donate a small amount of money, whatever, if you want to sponsor a teacher's supper for conferences night, and then we'll have meals brought in for teachers.
That's great.
Sweet. Any other questions?
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
coming.
Yeah,
Yes,
gentlemen.
thank
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Council.
Yes.
Have a great night.
You too.
Be in touch.
Listen, I paid mine last month too, so we should really be good. I'm always negative.
We don't get a lot of school board woo-hoos.
Yeah.
Would you like to go ahead with item 2?
Yeah, the facility committee update, so the latest things that we've been making decisions on are the keys. You know, are we gonna have a different key for every single room, we're gonna have a master, we're gonna have I think we're down to high school, but we're almost made that decision because those are getting ordered. I'm still having some conversations about the furniture. We're going back and forth, so we will see how that goes. We did order the first round of furniture for the high school because we had to, because we're in a timeline now that we have to. But we may look at a different vendor for the furniture at the elementary at this point. So we're not gonna get stuck again like we got stuck this last time. So we're still having lots of conversations, and Jeff and I and Steph Stork piloted the classroom in her classroom, and so she's been giving us lots of good information too. But we're meeting with the architects who are the designers, and then they do kind of the communication back and forth with the actual vendor. But we're looking at a different vendor at this point, just to compare, just to give us an option. So one of the highest costs right now is assembling the furniture, and it's just extremely high cost. It's ridiculous, like close to $200,000 to assemble all of our furniture when you add it all.
For the high school.
No, that's for everything. The high school's $95,000. Well, the high school's about $140,000. That's just the first phase.
I told her I'd do it for 100.
I know. So we are looking at different options for that, and they're saying, originally they said it was because of the timing, because at the high school it's right around the holidays and you'd have to pay overtime and you have to, so we said, okay, we'll push that out and you don't have to do it. And then it was, well, we can't mobilize workers because they're out of Omaha or they're out of Des Moines, and then they're gonna have to stay the night in there. And I was like,
You can drive from Omaha.
you can drive from
I
Omaha.
am pretty good at putting together
Well-
stuff, and I think we could probably find two.
Can our, we
10
use
of
our
us.
students to help?
That was-
And our students.
That came up today, so, but I wanna see what the figure is that they're gonna give us before I say yes or no, because a lot of it is unpacking it just out of the boxes and hauling it to the trash. It's not even putting it together. So, yeah, I know, Roger, I mean, Catherine has heard me on the phone.
I mean, sometimes you gotta put chairs together, but they're not that, usually you gotta take this chair
I know.
and put it together on the wheels, and it's not.
And then they throw out the warranty, which I did finally say today, well, I don't know, is $200,000 worth that warranty?
Yes.
Like if we bought that and didn't have to pay that $200,000, it might be worth it, us putting things together. So
If the sheriff
that,
fails, we have a shot in class.
well, that's what I said. We have our custodial staff too, they're great. So we're gonna switch gears a little bit and we'll see. We're meeting again next week, Jeff. I don't even know if you saw that yet, but
They
yeah.
evidently don't want a referral.
Well, it all started with, we had someone as our salesperson who no longer works for the company anymore, and that has just thrown everything in a loop. And I mentioned that today too. So that's not our fault that he's no longer with them.
What's the name of this company?
Allspace?
Workspace.
Workspace, you're right. Sorry, Casey.
Out of Des Moines, right?
Mhm.
Is the folks at De Novo involved in?
They're very involved and they're working with us too, so yes, very much so.
Yeah, I would expect that they should be able to.
Yes, they have had several
Been some-
conversations too. And honestly,
Leverage some
the person
influence.
that was the salesperson that we were working with, Stephen had worked with him on many other jobs and was like, he's great, he'll get us what we want, he keeps the price where we need it, and now he's not there anymore, so. We're looking at other options, but we'll see, yeah.
If we come to it, I'll volunteer time.
Well, that's what I said, they said, well, how much would it cost you? I said, honestly, I think we would pay our school staff, but there would be plenty of volunteers that would volunteer, like myself.
Well, the furniture itself is
You
already
guys.
astronomical. The price of just the furniture is beyond what I can comprehend. So you add how much they want to put it together, it
Mhm.
seems like,
Well, that was my argument, that for our budget, we're not getting,
Mm-hmm.
50% of it is not the actual furniture, it's
Yeah, that's,
the other costs. Okay, yeah. But Stephen did tell me this, in the beginning, he said, wait till you get to furniture, cause it's a racket, is what he said. He said it's just crazy.
Is it coming from IKEA? Is it in 500 pieces
Yeah.
or what's
We
the
can't
problem?
go to just a furniture store.
I understand, but I'm saying, if you've
Yeah.
ever been to IKEA, it's
Everything has to be
overwhelming.
put
And it's
together.
like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, so we're still in the furniture figuring out phase, but everything else is on time. And then we've got some change orders that I communicated with you guys about, but if you have any questions with those, I think we, some of those were district requested, so Jeremy requested a couple. Any questions on
And
that?
they're coming up on the agenda.
Yes,
right?
they'll be on the
We'll
agenda.
get the details.
Yep.
Yep.
Student accolades, any additions on that, item 3?
Alrighty. Jeff? Good looking.
So 2 of the pictures are from our from our physical education. The one on the left there, so Mr. Mosier's taking each 5th grade class to the Wellness Center just to teach them what the Wellness Center has to offer and how to use weights and how to use different things safely, and so that's what that picture is. Over there on the bottom right is also where he takes one class at a time and teaches them how to fish. So some lifelong, you know, yeah, leisure stuff. So that's what those 2 pictures are. And the one up on top, one of our classrooms, one of our special education classrooms had a lemonade stand. And so they were preparing and they were organizing and just doing some life skills type things to learn some skills. And so everybody in that wing of the building came down and went through the lemonade stand. They were so excited.
That is awesome.
Okay, middle school?
Yeah, there's some stuff going on at the middle school, and that first one over on the left, that's some of the graphics that have been starting to get made by our middle school video productions class. So Mrs. Wedemeyer worked with Kylie to kind of teach some kids how to start using Canva. And so some of the posts that are putting out on the middle school Twitter and Facebook page are made from that class, and that's kind of what that was right there. On that top right-hand picture, that's a 6th grade math class, Mrs. Griffith's class there. They're going over adding and subtracting fractions and mixed numbers there. And then the one on the bottom, again, that's a graphic made by the video productions class of 7th grade volleyball. So our fall activities are almost over, cross country, and volleyball is over. Tomorrow is the last middle school football game, and our marching band has concluded their marching season. And tonight, our 7th and 8th grade have a vocal concert along with the high school vocal kids.
One of the things too about the social media is just getting the students involved. I think we've heard lots of good comments about, our social media has gotten a lot better over the last couple of years. And now to have somebody down at the middle school teaching it, it'll just grow even into something. And then we this year we also have the social media certificate from Iowa Western as well. So we've got a couple kids in that. So as long as we can keep getting everybody interested, then it'll grow. But yeah.
I think one of the neatest thing that's coming out of that, I mean, obviously they're learning how to do some graphics and stuff, but they're very conscientious of what's getting put out there in terms of, is this an appropriate picture? How many people have we put on posts, so it's not just the same person all the time. They're looking at what the wording is, and so I'm happy to listen to their conversations about how aware they're being of what's getting put out there. Now if we can just tell them to do that in their personal life. But that's good, otherwise sometimes.
That might overflow.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, right,
That
it's
and
good
Dr.
that they're
Gentile and Dr.
being-
Gibby, the more awareness we
yeah,
can.
that they're being aware of, you know, whether it's wording, whether it's, you know, let's try to get as many kids picture as possible out there, and so it's not just the same 8 kids that you're seeing all the time and stuff, so it's good.
Casey?
Yeah.
Crosswalk.
Top right, if you've been downtown, you've seen the crosswalks. And so there's a picture of the ribbon cutting ceremony with Miss Kehoe, our art teacher. And we are finalists for the $200,000 mural in Harlan. And I think part
How
of
much?
is it 20 or 200? 20. It's
200, so we could use
200
that
would be
money
better.
for the.
Yeah,
Yeah, for the furniture.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
that's why I said that. Numbers are hard today. Anyway, yeah, I think it's part of it's to hire a muralist to come in and do a mural with, and then we would want kids involved in that as well. On the left, there's John, and he is testing out our new CDL simulator. It's down at Iowa Western, and we're using that in partnership with them. And it is cool. I drove it. And there's 3 screens there. And then you can see, like, in front of the steering wheel, that's another monitor. And it looks like the gauges of whatever you're driving. It can simulate any of that. And then that monitor on the right that has kind of the white rectangle on it, that's also, it has like the hydraulic, and there's all other things over there that really simulates the driving experience. You can put in whatever kind of vehicle you want to drive, and so if you want to drive, your family farm has a Peterbilt, you're all Peterbilt. Well, you can loaded Peterbilt. If you're a Freightliner, you're gonna leave and you're gonna go drive Freightliner. It will simulate those to do that. You can change the weather. I drove country, mountainside, city, and then they put me in a simulation where I had to back the tractor and trailer between 2 other trailers, and I almost got it, but I wrecked it after. And then there's a camera that videos the driver itself so that you can watch that back. It's just a really neat piece of machinery in and of itself. The plan is we'll have 8, we're already full with a waiting list for next semester. And have 8 students, we think, to start, would be able to take the initial classes with the Iowa Western instructor, and then also be able to test the simulator out, with the plan of trying to get them lined up to take the Iowa Western CDL class as soon as they turn 18 and can get their permit. Can drive the Iowa Western semi. The benefit of a CDL simulator is you're not putting yourself at risk as you learn how to drive, putting wear and tear on the equipment you're driving. There's just a lot of cost savings in that way too. So the kids are very excited. We had that. They were just putting it together, and almost every student from the auto diesel program was hovered around like, when do I get a start? When do I get a try run? So pretty neat. Yeah.
What's the next picture?
Oh, and our homecoming king and queen. It was a great week for homecoming. It was, these guys didn't do it justice. They had a number of committees for homecoming, and it was to compare this group that they had in and the way they had it planned was so great. And the idea of student council is to push it to be a student-led organization. And so every piece of it was truly run by students who were having to solve problems that they didn't quite anticipate, and figuring it out. And I think the feedback was that the community was also understood that and knows some of that's kids trying to learn as they go, and that's where most learning happens. It's out in the real world, and that's what we're trying to do as much as possible. So.
And then here's a couple more high schools, I think. You got
Was it
homecoming
something?
kickoff, yeah.
Oh,
You
geez,
got a
okay, I got
double
the homecoming
major.
kickoff at
Rosa Blandon.
Yep, and that was, the court was there, and I know elementary kids, everyone was invited as a kickoff for homecoming. some more authentic learning. That's Layton and Levi. They are doing some authentic learning. They're creating the door signs for the high school, all of the high school doors. And they are starting from the design phase. This is where they learned how to use the laser cutter. Finally got it working. They have to design it and then they're gonna actually make them. And then install them. And I think they're gonna be pretty neat. They're talking about backlighting with LED and
Yeah, they've got, and that's gonna say, that saved us money too on the design side of things, yeah.
Yep.
And this is just ours, just the week of, we poured quite a bit of concrete on the back side. What direction is that? And what- is it
In the
south?
southeast.
That goes from the old intermediate into the new intermediate. Yeah, so it is. Yeah, are all the windows in yet? Someone was asking.
Most.
Yeah.
Most of the windows are in.
Jenny's is already out.
Somebody knocked it out already. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know which one hers is, so.
Okay, very good. There's the state meet on Wednesday, that's kind of nice here.
Oh, cross
Here.
country, yes,
Cross-country
we need to
qualifying.
say, yes, we
Yeah.
do need to
Oh,
mention
there's a golf
that,
course,
yes. It is,
Yeah.
it is here. Is it after school, KCT?
Yeah, it starts at 4 o'clock,
4
I
o'clock,
believe.
yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll move on then to action items, E here, and the first one is,
Cost you 50 bucks.
Yeah.
the first one is to
Oh,
take action and vote on the appointment of Pete Sorensen. I guess we all know that Jennifer Anderson ran into a snag when she moved across town. Little did she know it, she was just a few feet outside of her district. I think it's District 5, if I got that right, Jade.
I guess, I think, I don't know what district it's in.
And so we were been looking for someone brave enough to take her place. And Pete's name came up and he was willing to come in and talk to us. So that's the first thing here we'll put on the table and see if there's any discussion.
I think Pete would be a good board member, he's very involved, he's got kids in school, and he's active at the Music Boosters as well. So, local business person.
So we have to make a motion, or what do we have to do?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't have any questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're glad to see you here, Pete.
Yeah.
So what do we need to say?
I mean, the initiation process.
Just
is
move
what-
to, you move to appoint.
Okay, I move to appoint Pete Sorensen to Jennifer Anderson's position on the board.
I'll second.
Second by Jen. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. You're in, Pete.
Take your
Congratulations.
seats. Now you can vote.
Now you can vote.
Oh, we're gonna do the oath real quick, yep.
Pick where you
Alright.
wanna sit though, because people are territorial about these things, so.
So change them up every month.
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
Pete, do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Iowa, and that you will faithfully and impartially, to the best of your ability, discharge the duties of the office of board member in the Harlan Community School District and now and hereafter required by law?
I do.
Welcome to the board.
Thank you.
Welcome.
You're welcome.
Very
All
good.
right, you're now a voting member.
With that, we'll move on to item E2, personnel report.
Uh-huh,
Who will tell us about that?
that's me.
That's you. Okay.
The only resignation we have this month is Lee Berkeley. She is our high school and middle school nurse. She is going to be working full-time in the hospital in Denison. She has been working part-time there for a while, and they offered her a pretty good job there where she is only working 3 days a week. And so she thought that that was best for her family and has resigned at the end of the first semester. So she's going to continue teaching the rest of her the classes she's teaching, and then give us quite a bit of time to hopefully hire a new nurse in the interim. So we've hired 3 new people. Emily Duell is a para in the middle school. Brett Shields is going to help us out part-time in the IT department, and Austin Jacobson is a coach. So we still are looking for a part-time teacher associate and a softball coach. And of course then these positions. So it's not a lot this month, but we had a para interview today. Actually, since this went out, we've decided we needed to add another para in the middle school. One of our kindergartners,
Intermediate, or no?
I'm sorry, in the elementary school, a kindergartner needs more minutes than
On his IEP.
on his IEP. So we had an interview for that today, so we'll update that for next month. Again, get all those positions filled.
I'm gonna say that I hope we spend some time on the softball coach,
I
because
would
we've been
second
working
that.
on a softball coach for 3 years. And I think it's time that we dedicate some time to that position. And find somebody that's gonna be a permanent fix, so.
We are hoping, also on tonight's agenda is to approve the early retirement incentive, and then once we do that, teachers that are gonna retire will know quickly, and then that gives us the opportunity to see who,
Start
Right.
recruiting.
yeah, we can recruit that could coach softball and take one of those positions.
That may not be filled this year, so
What's that?
that position may not fill this year. Sure, hiring for next, well, that person may be working.
Oh, yeah, you're right, I didn't even think about that, but yeah, I think, yep.
Okay,
I,
go ahead.
I do think last year was somewhat better as Anthony is trying to.
And I'm not saying that, but I'm
Yeah.
just saying it was a temporary. and-
Yeah, and I think he's trying. I don't know if there are ways to incentivize stuff like that either. Because that's been open for, we found people to fill it, but what? 3? Will this be the 4th year?
Mhm.
And that's hard. I have a daughter that plays, these 2 have girls that play. It's difficult. So,
It's hard to build rapport
Yeah,
with those
sure.
student athletes when you've got a coach that comes and goes, and they know it. You know, they know
Yeah.
during the season that it's just a fill-in.
Yep.
well, and we can't wonder why our program's shrinking.
Oh, yeah,
There's no.
it's difficult to recruit in the summer, that's the hard part.
But that's what I'm saying. Is there some sort of
Yeah,
That's just the hard part, yeah, maybe.
incentivized?
Yeah,
It'd be nice to see and I know that's a tough one, but it'd nice to see the state or somehow for them to get done earlier. You know,
Yeah.
the softball, baseball, gonna get done earlier than,
I know on the
Yeah,
athletic
July.
side, it was discussed to move it
yeah.
to a spring sport, but then
But then that
you're competing with
conflicts with
spring
everything
sports.
else
I
in the
know.
spring.
yeah.
So that might not.
Well, and golf, right? Golf got moved. What got moved? And
They,
that seemed pretty mixed.
Boys golf got moved to fall.
I don't
They
know
got-
if that's official,
They
is
got
it
moved
official
back?
yet?
Okay.
I think
It
they
did go
took,
back?
yeah,
they took
I
it
think
They
they
got too
did.
many people
What about
upset.
tennis? Are the tennis getting?
I think whatever they had announced hadn't totally officially gotten all of where it needed to get approval with, so then it's
Oh,
bounced
okay.
back.
To
Move
spring.
back for a year.
And then they'll see, yeah.
Anyway,
Okay.
I think if we could look into some sort of incentivizing for Anthony to be able to, because you're right, that doesn't help us this year.
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
How many-
high expectations. Well, what
Okay.
the same expectations for girls' sports as for the
As
sports.
boys sports,
Right,
yes,
right.
we do, yeah.
Extracurriculars,
Right.
everything will come much.
Very good, how about a motion to approve the personnel report?
I'll move.
Second.
Roger, second by Greg. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Next, we have item number 3, issuance 2, Nelson change order number 3. So just to fill you in a little bit, this is on the high school particularly, and it amounts to $40,415.34. And Nelson is the electrical contractor, and so they have a lot to accomplish as far as the high school and getting everything wired and everything like that. There are actually 4 parts to this change order. I will mention that we had a pre-meeting last Tuesday, and so De Novo and the school administrators were here, and we talked through it, and we went through the numbers and all that kind of stuff, and we didn't have a building committee meeting, but we did talk over the phone, and so I'll let, first maybe if you'd like to go ahead, Superintendent, and tell us about the change orders, and then we can see what the building committee
Sure.
thought.
Okay, so the first one is the fire alarm annunciator, and when they originally put this in, the panel is in a spot that's not in a good, like it's vulnerable and big, so they need to change it and upgrade it to a smaller panel. And basically it's the panel, when the fire department gets in, they know exactly where the hot spot is, so then they can get to it. By code by code what they designed for us was correct, it just was in a, it was right when you come in the dock doors, and it was big and it sticks out, so we needed to upgrade it. So that was our decision, that we could have left it, but we said no, and I feel like it was very accessible to anybody that's coming in and out of that door. So that is a $4,731 upgrade. And then the telecommunications ad is Jeremy, and since we began designing the project, we've had a change in our technology department. So one person helped to design it while someone else is on the back end right now trying to use that design or add his additions to it. So Jeremy has found that we needed some additional data drops and TV mounts, and we'd rather do it now than go into the walls afterwards when we don't need, and so that's an $11,115, and that just, we can do it later, but we'd rather just do it now while the walls are exposed, and we've got Nelson here. The big one is the fire alarm devices. So there, at the middle school, there's penthouse, and those smoke detectors and fire alarms were not written in the plans in the design for some reason. So we feel that that is some of KCL, the engineers' problem, because they didn't find that. So we have to do this because it's in code, so we have to pay for it now, but Stephen Manis from De Novo is working with KCL to, and I have some more information on that too, and I can explain. Basically to say, okay, that was your mistake, so you need to cover a portion at least of that cost. I mean, we'll cover whatever we have to cover for the equipment. So that's something that has to be done as well. And then the last one is the electrical room switches, which this is just a pretty small one, but it's silly. So the fire marshal requires all rooms to have, like when you walk in, the lights come on, sensors. So they put sensors in the closets as well, but it's opposite in the closets. The fire marshal requires switches in the closets. So we have to switch that out and make switches in the closets. So that's an $1,151. So this, yeah, the total is $40,000. I did speak with Stephen this morning because he spoke with KCL, and apparently the way that this works when they ask for, you know, we'll pay this percentage, you pay this percentage, because this was mostly your mistake. With school projects is they wait till the end, and Stephen is new, a little bit new to school projects. He's more on the private side, he was on the private side, but he said they wait till the end, and then we wait to see if there's anything else across the street that KCL, so we just do it all at the end instead of exchanging this check for that check. He also did say there's usually an industry standard of about 3%, so a 3% error margin. But anything that goes over that, then we will ask to get back. So he has worked on especially the middle school penthouse piece. And he's got a couple other things too that he's just keeping track of. So we'll know that figure closer to the end there. So yes, those are all through Nelson and all at the high school, and pretty much either director, us initiated, or has to happen because of code.
How's that, how are we looking at as far as our contingency, as far as this?
I asked
Going.
about that this, we have 500,000 left, we started with about 930. So we have a little over half, and we're mainly done with the mechanical and the exposing. I do think though, back over here, part of whatever we've decided to call that portion is the bathrooms and the showers and those. I would expect more there, but we still have a little over half left of the contingency budget. And the majority of it has gone towards high school, which we assumed it would.
Yeah, the electricity at the trailers, when we had to figure that all out and getting it over there, and then
It
the
feels like
elementary
we've spent a lot more than we
fence.
have, because I asked about that this week. Like, it feels like we're just one thing after another, but it hasn't added up to as much as I thought.
Percentage of how far through the project, would you say, percentage wise?
Well, phase,
5?
Halfway?
Yeah.
Brian, so you'd probably know the number.
Obviously,
when-
this is
Well,
a guess.
I can-
If we spend half our contingency and we're halfway through,
Yeah.
we don't have
Well,
to
the
panic yet,
And I
but
think the main things that we worried about were when they expose mechanical things,
And
the
that's-
roof.
yeah,
and that,
Granted, when we go to the plumbing back here,
yeah. I did to ask
That's
Steven
all,
that,
that's
and he
all.
felt this $500,000 was a very good spot right now for us to be
That's
in. So that's, I did ask him that.
that's the
and
gist of my
He
question.
said that's,
Where-
yes, we're in a good spot.
Okay, well, good.
I would mention, as far as the change order, they do have, every bit of material and the labor, and so it's really laid out. Different subcontractors that work for Nelson are in here with their numbers, and so.
they've learned that gym is not having it if it's not what it should be.
You should be able to tell you the material and
Yes.
labor, and so you can
Yes.
make
I'm
sense
thankful
of
for
what
that,
this
Jim.
front sheet looks like.
I
And he
will
said as
ask
far
on
as those
percentage.
dampers and the fire things, he'll actually go with the engineer and look at the specific ones that were missed and, get a percentage, so they'll go into some detail when they decide that. I
Yes.
guess it'll be a little bit later on.
Yes, and he's keeping track. He did have a conversation with them.
Because they
though,
carry insurance policies that are for that.
Right. Yeah, and who knows what's gonna happen, maybe even down the road, I don't know.
Nothing.
Yeah, or it could be over here, like you
So
said.
it'll be good.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe.
Okay, what do we need to do?
We just need to approve that change order number 3. It had all those in there.
I'll make a motion to approve issuance number 2, Nelson change order number 3.
I second.
Second by Jen. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, no. Item number 4 is the approval of the early retirement incentive. And this might need a little explanation since Brian's not here.
So, yeah, every year they,
Stop it.
they have, the Harlan Community School District has had a voluntarily early retirement incentive plan. And the theory behind this is just like we're looking for a softball coach, or we're looking for or hard to find teachers, that we're able to start looking for them early enough. Brian each year looks at our management fund and says we have this amount of money that we're able to use, because that's all you can only take out of management. And it was $75,000. The incentive is $15,000 for teachers who give us their retirement early. So there's up to 5 teachers could choose this. We have decided this year to change it a little bit and say, if there were 6, then we could take that $75,000 and divide it by 6 versus having teachers. I've never had this happen when I was here, but apparently in the past, they line up and they get in, or, because it's all
What
time
happens if it's
stamped.
10?
If it's
Split it by
10,
10?
then we'd split it by 10.
Then can someone back out if they like said, well,
7 days to back.
Yeah,
Okay,
they have 7
okay.
days to back out, yep.
Okay.
Yep. And each year it's different. Last year it was 105,000, so we had up to 7, but we only had 3 last year, I think. So what we also do is look at who's eligible. You have to be here for at least 10 years, have worked here for 10 years. And you know, that list is a little bit short too.
55 years old.
And maybe
55
we
years old.
talked about this last year, but my question I have is on the 15, so is the reduction in the cost of that particular teacher, we should get back in the first year over hiring a new teacher?
Oftentimes we do get it back, yes. It'll
I
be
mean,
interesting to see now with the new.
Because now with the minimum of 50,
Mhm.
are we gonna get that back, and is this really
Yeah.
financially advisable to do?
Yeah, that's a very good question, and we won't know that until we see who we hire. But I will say with the 50,000, new teachers are gonna be at 50,000 for more than just their first year.
Okay,
They're gonna get frozen for a little bit
okay,
in order for us to, so until we can figure who
okay,
we have and who we don't. But historically, it has saved us a great deal of money.
okay.
Yeah.
And then my other question is what else do they receive besides that 15?
Just that.
Just that, what about medical or
No.
anything like that?
We took that out this year.
Okay,
Just this year you removed it.
This year we
Because
removed
it's been
it.
in there before.
Yes,
They
it
used to get
always has.
$125 a month towards their premiums.
they do, or
They did, they did,
Okay.
we took it out for this year.
Okay,
And part of the
They
reason
can-
we took it out, sorry.
That's okay. I was gonna say they can stay on our insurance, but they pay their own
they pay their
premiums.
own premium.
Yes,
So-
by code, by Iowa code.
Part of the reason we took it out is it's inequitable, really. Because if you're 55 and you do that until you're 65, you get $125, $1,500 a year, so that's
For 10
15,
years.
for $15,000. And
Yeah.
if you do it when you're 62, you only get
Yeah, it is.
for 3.
Yep.
So, that's one of the main reasons we did that. They still are
Okay.
eligible to stay
Great.
on our insurance if needed.
All right, you answered my questions, those are my two.
I don't have any questions.
I was just
I,
We're all staring at Jake.
Yeah.
no, I'll explain my position on it. I have questioned the position of the school in doing early retirement. It's not that I don't appreciate teachers or what they have done. Obviously, they received a salary during their teaching time. I understand the premise of why it's there. I think especially 2 years ago when it seemed like we had a STEM opening for a couple of years, some math openings. I question the validity of continuing that just because it's something we've had in practice for whatever, the entirety of
Why
it.
pay them to resign when we can't?
Right, and can we hire them back?
Right.
So I did question that for 2 years. I do think Catherine's done a great job of getting people, it's not personal, it's a position that I wonder, and I've asked other schools what they do now and why and different things. I also think the management fund, the percentage that goes into the management fund is up to us. So while it can get to a certain amount of money, we can decide we don't want that
Yeah.
percentage going to the management fund. So I understand we can't incentivize teacher retention, which was kind of seemingly a thing we might have had to think about doing before. I know that can't come from the management fund, but we can have conversations that say we bring the percentage of what the total budget goes into the management fund and maybe allocate that money other places. So in the 2 years before, it was out of, I don't understand why we're doing it if we struggle finding teachers or paras. Now I would say it is, do we need to incentivize softball or other things? Again,
We've done it on the other end too, so special ed, we've incentivized special ed. We also have talked about incentivizing with the CDL, and I should have mentioned it earlier, in our partnership with Iowa Western, getting adults involved in that, and we would pay for them to go through the training, so, because we need bus drivers. So we've incentivized and we can use that in that way as well.
which we haven't put anything out that says that, right? There's no language right now saying we're incentivizing bus driver. We don't even post for a bus driver position currently,
We
right?
don't have any currently.
We don't have any current openings, we're just, it's the
Anticipating.
retirement, yes, we're
Anticipation.
anticipating the retirement
Got it.
of, yeah.
So those have been my questions previously. I still say I a little bit question how it continues to be a thing if we continue to see the same patterns of we struggle to find teachers for different positions. This year it felt like we didn't have as much, so it has nothing to do with I don't value teachers. I value teachers that teach the Albertson 7
I don't
completely.
think any of us teachers do it that way.
Yeah.
Because I
Yeah.
agree with a lot with what your thought process.
Yes. So this year, if you can believe it, I'll happily vote yes. It doesn't seem like we have a lot. But I do think it's a legitimate concern that do we continually do this because it's historic and because teachers think it's going to be a thing and we're worried they're going to be mad if we don't do it? Or do we do it because it saves us for
get mad and
things
quit?
or, yeah, get mad and quit? I don't know.
That doesn't help us either, yeah, they're gonna retire.
But if you're
It
They're-
does make sense though to incentivize them so that we do know, so we can get ahead of the
Yes.
game
Yeah.
to
That does
hire.
make
Because for them to tell us in March or April,
Then you
that really puts us
struggle.
behind the eight ball.
But my rub there,
Especially-
Roger,
Yeah,
is
but especially to find quality teachers.
we can't have them sign their, they don't sign their contract any sooner. So we did have an example 2 years ago, or was it last year, where we had an art position filled. I think he potentially used our offer to levy at his other school, or his or her, I don't recall, and then didn't end up filling that role here, went to the other place, because they don't sign their contract any sooner. So we have no position. We thought we had that position filled, we didn't advertise for it the rest of the time, and turned out we didn't have it filled.
But
We do have a position in that sense to turn them into the BOEE
Sure.
and say, and go after their license. Now, nobody wants to do that, and but we actually could have done that in this situation.
And I'm sure it's the minimal, I'm
Yeah,
sure it's the
yeah.
exception.
that's
Yeah.
an exception out there.
But me, I'm like, well, if we don't have them sign their contract any sooner.
But if you can't, but if you had 4 or 5 that are thinking about retirement and they tell you that in March or April versus December,
That's gonna be
No,
a
they
lot
told
rougher.
us in November
yeah, it's really.
versus, yeah.
But I mean, now, you're talking your softball coach or
Yeah,
whoever
yeah.
other coach might come up, then this helps us.
But we can't use that for this year, that's been a problem for 3 years, so it
Yeah.
can't
Well,
be the
right, but
deciding
any
push
coach,
this
any
year.
coach is what I'm
Right.
saying, any coach, or anything extra that you need, yeah.
Yes,
I'd like to underscore what Roger said, that, it's a very difficult job that the administration has to hire qualified people. I mean, it used to be you could have 100 teachers at your doorstep and you could look at quality so often. Now as well, who would be willing to come to Harlan? And it makes, this is what makes our education program is these teachers. They're so valuable, and the ones sometimes the concern is those that are leaving might have a lot of experience and a lot to add to the program, and so that's a big recognition for me is that we get really good, and it's a challenge, I'm sure. Anyway, would someone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to. You want me to say that? I'll make a motion to approve the early retirement incentive plan.
Well said.
This year.
I'll second.
Is that you, Greg?
Yes.
Second. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Those opposed, no? Okay, next we're up to item number 5 here. Approval of request for allowable growth for EL excess costs in the amount of $9,063.74. And the acronym for EL is English Learner.
Right, so this is just very similar to special education. You can get spending authority back for using that money. So our EL population has grown since I've been here. I think I started out with, it was like 34 and now it's up to 54. So we have added some staff, and we also have 2 different languages now. Spanish is primarily, but then there's Chiquis, is that how you say it? Chiquis? And there's a high population of, in Atlantic, and they usually go there. There's several families but there's no English translation, Anna told me, with Chukis. So I'm not sure what kind of language it is, but she said that has really been a big challenge, so.
Who speaks it? Here.
No one. And that's what happens with EL students in many places is, there's several languages.
She's saying you have to be prepared.
You just have to
So
be.
we don't have someone here now, there's just a population.
No, there's a student, yes.
So how are we educating them?
We're doing our best with pictures and the best that we can do, and asking Atlantic for some resources and how.
So do they have someone that speaks the
They have.
language?
I don't think they do either, but they have a bigger population. Yeah, so.
Another challenge.
Yeah.
What area of the planet is that?
It's an African tribe,
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
tribal language, so I think that's why there's no translation.
Do their parents obviously speak it? Is that helpful?
I think to them, but I don't know. Anna, this is the first time Anna has said she's had anyone speak that language. I think she's had French or, like others that are a little more common, but not, yeah. So, one family.
Yeah, what do we need to?
Is there software that, or
I'm sure,
anything that
I don't know,
translates
because it
like-
doesn't translate to English, so I don't know.
Oh, it doesn't?
No.
There's nothing that, okay, because I was gonna say, otherwise you could put it on
I
the
know.
screen to where it could translate.
I don't know, I think
That
they're
makes-
using a
that's a
lot of
challenge.
pictures and a lot
like,
of,
so how do we
yeah.
educate
I don't-
them?
yeah.
Photos?
There, yeah. Immersion.
Well, you bet, let's vote for the money.
Okay,
How much
it's not
do
that
we
much
need?
really, it's just
Okay.
$9,000.
I'm
so,
happy
yeah.
to, let's pull this up.
Okay.
How
So
much?
Shade, $9,063.
Okay, so I make a motion to approve the LAO plan.
Sorry, allowable.
Oh, allowable growth for EL excess costs of $9,063.74.
I'll second.
Second from Jen. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
And those opposed, no. Next, we have item number 6, approval of the 2024-2025 LAO plan.
So Lau is the last name of a gentleman who, and this goes back to the EL population as well, so this is just what we do for our EL students. And Anna has gone over that with a fine tooth comb, and she's very good.
Really
like
good talk on this. Was that last year?
Yes, she came in and
So you missed out by a year.
I can
Well,
get
it's
it to
growing,
you.
so we might
Yes,
as
it's
well.
growing.
Yes, you bet.
Families know Anna is gonna help them, and they're moving here.
Well, then I'll make a motion to approve, we gotta get
right,
going,
Jade.
kids. I'll make a motion to approve the 24-25 LAO plan.
And the second?
I'll second.
Well, that was a
Roger.
tie.
We
Roger,
gotta,
Jen.
we gotta change the.
Oh, the
Yes,
girl
we
boy.
got girl boy.
Okay.
I noticed
Yeah,
The
Roger
girl
Bone.
waving.
it. You would make a motion, I second. Roger motion. Chris second.
Oh,
We gotta-
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was.
we just have an ice cream
I hadn't
social going on
thought
out there
that.
that a couple of us are supposed to be.
Okay.
Okay, we have a motion on the table. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Next, we have item number 7, policy review schedule reading, first reading. Any questions or discussion on the first reading for this month?
No.
These are a lot of the yearly ones we do. So you probably are thinking, gosh, I just read this one, but
There's
it's,
nothing changed.
no, they're all just
They're all
yearly.
the same.
Well, there
No,
was some stuff
Second
in the
reading.
graduation requirements on the first
Yeah.
one.
Oh, yeah, we,
There's
good, good job.
just wording eliminated most.
Yeah.
did you do it recently?
Pop open the first one. I think that one had
It's the
most.
second one.
Was it the second
This,
one?
the graduation
The first
one?
We
The
just
graduation
first out,
on the
so
first
first
Yes,
one.
you're right, graduation.
On the first reading.
Yeah.
Yeah, that, we broadened that, so it's not so
And you narrowed it.
narrowed it.
Yeah.
Yes, narrowed it,
Tightened it
geez,
up,
I
yeah. Cleaned it
tightened it
up.
up.
Yeah.
I'm not, my words aren't working either, and I don't know why, but this isn't opening, Kevin.
And we went from 44 credits to 48, or it was 48, but,
44 to 48.
We were in a transition
okay.
the year
Yes,
before
so
when
that
we
was written
approved
in
it.
there, and now it's
Correct, and
official.
then this year.
Would have been
So we
probably
just
like
took out
21,
the
22
language.
would have been the year they switched.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So that's really your.
So our seniors this year would be the first, they have to have 48 credits. This is, they've gone all the way through. So now we've phased out the 44. Yeah,
Okay.
so we took out
about that language.
Okay, okay, that would explain it.
Are you good with it, Raj?
Yep, I'm good. Yeah,
I'll make a
just-
motion.
Okay, we got a
Policy
motion
I'll second.
First reading.
from Greg to approve the
You can't, it's.
first reading and second.
Jade.
Seconded it. Wow, this is really mixing it up.
Really mixing it up. We're throwing you off, aren't we?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Okay, next we have item 8, the policy review schedule, second reading.
My only question, which I did text Casey and ask, I had a child come home that was like, I gotta stay 10 minutes after with the teacher, and I got an email from the teacher personally. So I was like, where did we approve language that teachers were emailing us, whatever? Casey let me know that it's not necessarily in the policy, but it's the high school attendance follow-up procedure. My question to that is, do the teachers enjoy having more work? They are the ones that have to email us. Don't we have people that do that?
It's part of our policy, we know best practices is for parents to feel connected to the teachers.
Okay.
And so that's part of what we're trying to do to get kids at school. And if you're hearing from 8 different teachers on 4 days absent, then that brings a lot more awareness than a letter in the mail.
And the teachers are
It's
on
work
board?
up front, but it's not gonna be work in the end, because the kids are gonna be
Yeah.
there and they're gonna do what they're supposed to do,
Because they're gonna be more
and they're gonna be held
reliable.
accountable.
So when
Less
we,
work.
when we approve the policy for the compulsory attendance, then we give you the leverage or whatever you need to say this is what works
Yes.
best.
Yes.
So it's not that, because I was like, I don't remember reading that anywhere.
No, no.
Okay, so it's-
And it's probably different at each building.
Okay, only question.
Okay, how about a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Motion
I'll
from
second that,
Roger
It's you.
to approve the second reading,
What was the second?
Jen,
then the second.
we do care about
We're
these
gonna have to get
things.
Jen on the first.
I've noticed.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And those- And those opposed, no. Okay, we are to item number 9, and first we have the minutes, and then we also have the financial reports and accounts payable. Any discussion on that?
Good for me.
I kind of went through it, didn't see anything too particular. I just like to look at some of those numbers. And I noticed that the report is through August, so it's only the beginning of the year.
Yeah, so lots of beginning of year supplies.
Yeah. Okay, someone want to make
I
a,
make a motion to approve the
Yes.
consent agenda.
Now I can't.
we got a motion from Jen to approve the consent agenda. Catherine,
Yes.
and a second?
So moved.
Moved by Roger. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, no. And who would like to do
Mark me as
the next
abstain on this,
item,
please,
which
since I
is
haven't had a chance
item
to review
number F?
Mark me as abstained since I haven't had a chance to review it.
Yes.
This is Jade.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Okay,
I'll
we have a
second.
motion on the table, and the second from Jen. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed,
Oh,
no.
that's usually you though, that's.
Yeah.
Mission accomplished, thank you, everybody.
Hey,